All right, resiliency and optimism. Now I have a question for you. Which movie? I'm not the actor, but I can one sentence or these sentences I think I remember. Let me tell you something that you already know. Life ain't just rainbows and sunshine. It's very mean and nasty place, and it will keep you down permanently if you let it. It's not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can take hits and keep moving forward. That's how winners are done. Which movie? No? Have you ever seen Rocky? That was Stallone, a motivational speech. It wasn't literally like that, but something like that. And it is all about resiliency. It's all about resilience. It's really good motivational speech because we really need to have resiliency skills. So basically, when the hard times comes, when we don't give up, we just don't need to go through hard times. We need to grow through hard times. And our hard times can be biggest blessings to others. When we have successfully go through very hard times, then can be also to our lives very meaningful. And there are a lot of people who have built a careers or something because they have done something miraculous because they needed to survive. It can be biggest blessing. So we need to take optimistic mindset when the hard times comes. But there are 3 strategies what I would like to show you what the resiliency is all about. There are many more than that, but I will give you the main ones. Not so many people remember that when hard times comes, our strengths, so the good qualities in us, they don't disappear anywhere. You need to keep in mind, when the hard time comes, you can still use your strengths. You can overcome your hard time much more easily by using your strengths than not using them. But the thing is that when the hard time comes, we don't remember anymore our strengths. We don't remember our good qualities anymore. And that's why it's very important to pay attention to your assets, your strengths, your support, your networks and stuff like that. That's the first strategy. So basically, one more time, this asset is that, like what we already discussed, that if you know that you have done successfully in the past, it's very likely that the same method will work in this situation. So you need to pay attention, how have I done something? Have I been in the same situation before, and how did I survive? And then you can realize, okay, I use this and that, that can help you. Then the second one, when we talk about the resiliency strategies, there is the avoiding unnecessary risks. If you know that this method don't work, don't do it. Do something else. So avoiding risks. Avoiding risk. Okay, now when we are entrepreneurial school, you always need to take risks, but of course you always need to evaluate. You don't take stupid risks. Do I make myself clear? There is the big difference here. So if you know that this doesn't work, what is the school student syndrome? In Finland we are saying that when the exam comes, then the last night I will read the exam, right? The last night. But if that strategy doesn't work for you, then you can start maybe 1 week before, and then you don't have any panic in the last night. But the third is the process-based strategies, and this is maybe the most important or the most interesting at least. When you face stressful situation or adversity, our mind tends to exaggerate it. Our mind thinks that it's so much bigger than it is. So you need to analyze it. What is the real impact? It can be that you don't even remember that in half a year. You don't maybe remember that in 1 week. So remember, our mind tends to exaggerate things. So you need to search for facts. Is this really true? Is there evidence? And so on. The second one, so basically the third one was divided three different. So let's put it first, process-based strategies. And the first one was real impact of adversity. Now, according to studies, if you are not resilient, you tend to focus on things that you can't have influence on. And those people who are resilient, they focus and they put effort on those little things that they can have influence on. And that makes a huge difference. Why? Exactly. When you have impossible problems, when you focus little tiny part of it and you can get it successfully done, you will create energy, you will get hope, you will create optimism. But then if you focus on the problems too much, you will create stress, you will create anxiety and stuff like that. And now, what part of the problem is under your control? What part is out of your control? You need to focus what is under your control. Do I make myself clear? And in this way, you build your resiliency, because that gives you energy when you get this little tiny part done successfully. I did it. Now I can take a little bit bigger part. So the circle will become bigger and bigger. But on the other hand, then, if you focus on the negative part, that circle comes to bigger, and then you are desperate, and then you are hopelessness, and then everything negative. So I put it here, focus on the right things. Focus on the right things where you can have influence on. The third one, 3.3. Gesundheit. Pleasure. I have been in Germany, that's why I know some German words. I heard that you are from the French. I would have liked to speak some German, but I can't any French, so. But let's focus on this one. What you need to do now, when you know all the other steps, what step you need to take now? What is the action step what you do right now? When you have gone through all your strengths and assets, you have avoided unnecessary risks, you have analyzed what is the real impact of adversity, and then you start to focus these little tiny things that you can have an influence on. And then the third, action. What is the real action step right now? Action steps right now. Is this understandable? And I argue, especially in this entrepreneurial context, you will, maybe not in every day, but every week there comes another challenge that you haven't even thought of. So it's really important to go these steps and get solution. Then there is the professor actually in France, Ilona Ponivel. Have you ever heard Ilona Ponivel? She has come up with, in my opinion, marvelous circle, and I'm going to show it to you right now. And I think this is worth taking and putting into practice. It's so-called SPARK model, and it is exactly when we talk about resilience. So, SPARK model. The first one is stressful situation. Once again, adversity, stressful situation. You need to analyze what has happened. What has happened and what are the real facts. Exactly what we were just talking about here. Real impact. So it is exactly the same. What is the stressful situation? What is the real facts? Because like I said, our mind tends to exaggerate, especially negative things, and it's not true. It's not necessarily true. So you need to analyze. Then it's very important how you perceive the situation. How you perceive this situation, so basically how you interpret to yourself that situation, what has happened. Because how you perceive that situation affects your emotions. Affect is in psychology strong emotion. It can be negative and positive, and in this sense it can be both. If you perceive this stressful situation on your favor, I love challenges. This is hard, but I love it. It can be that it will create positive emotions inside you. But on the other hand, I don't like this, I will give up. I'm so pissed off in the front of this challenge. I can't anything done. It's very likely that your emotion is negative. And this, in turn, affects your reactions. What do you do when you are in this situation? Have you ever heard emotional intelligence? What is emotional intelligence?
The ability to have control over your own feelings and emotions, and how you allow them to make you feel like.
If you have good skills when it comes to emotional intelligence, even though it's totally fine and it's all the emotions, whether they are negative or positive, they are important for us. We are human beings, and it is really important that we feel all kinds of emotions, but you need to feel the negative emotion as well. But if you are emotionally intelligent, if you have emotional intelligence skills and you have developed them, you don't have to act based on the negative emotion. You can choose actions based on your values. What is the wiser Tony would do in this situation? You can choose the best possible act, even though you feel the negative emotion. Do I make myself clear? And this is really brilliant way when you need to collaborate with others, because of course you will feel negative emotions. It can be that every day, but you don't have to react and act based on them. You can choose the best possible way to act. and then you are really high skilled when it comes to emotional intelligence in this area. The last one. Do you have any idea what CAR might stand for? Or K, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, J, K.
Knowledge.
How do you know?
Because not a lot of words in English start with a K.
It's knowledge. And what does it mean? This is the most important thing. What knowledge means in this context now, when you think about all those steps, what we have gone through. What can you learn from this experience? And now you can take this knowledge, all the emotions involved, and tomorrow you can use this knowledge. When you have reflected, you have learned, and you can put them practice another way that is more beneficial, and you don't face the stressful situation again. Clear? And now we have only optimism left. Optimism left, and it's pretty close to resiliency because there are two optimism theories. And I prefer Seligman's theory because Martin Seligman, who is the pioneer of positive psychology, argues that every and each one of us can develop the skills of optimism. And he has spoken a lot about learned optimism. And the most important thing is exactly the same what is here, this part. How you will perceive this situation, what you are encounter on your own benefits. If you perceive it negatively, you will become more pessimistic, but if you learn to perceive these things positively, you will become more optimistic. And now this psychological capital, what we have talked about today, every piece of those elements affect optimism as well. So basically, when you build your hope theory, you will increase your optimism at the same time. When you get successful experiences, you will build all the elements together. Self-reflection is really important. What did I do today well? From now on, 3 times a week, I recommend you to write in the evening 3 good things what has happened to you during that day. Only 3 times a week. Don't do it more often because then it comes like, if you do it too much, then it's like nothing. But you can get really good benefit out of that if you are doing every now and then. So you write in the evening before you go bed 3 good things what has happened. And then Seligman has, then you answer question why. It's very important because that can be linked to optimism. And now, based on the research, usually people realize that because of themselves, I have chose to do this and that's why the good things has happened to me. And they realize that I am responsible for my own life. So basically, it will affect your gratitude and optimism, and it's really beneficial and it's antidote to negative feelings. Really good exercise. But those are tiny little small steps what we need to do every day. And learning from experience can be the most effective way, but we need to reflect what has happened, why didn't I succeed, why I succeed and stuff like that.